This is Saints 4 Takeaways, sponsored by Rouse's Markets, the official supermarket of the Saints.
Last week, after destroying the Carolina Panthers, Dennis Allen's message to his team was stay grounded. And that makes sense. The Panthers are terrible and likely to remain terrible. But this week, after the Saints took apart the Dallas Cowboys on the road, I'm having to tell myself the same thing. Stay grounded. You know the last time the Saints started 2-0? Of course, it was last year. Now, I would argue that last year's two opening wins against two teams that turned out to be terrible do not compare to Sunday's win over Dallas. Now, I love seeing the Cowboys lose as much as anyone, but they are a legitimate playoff team. They had won an incredible 16 straight regular season home games, and the Saints destroyed them. Stay grounded is solid advice, but getting excited about this Saints team seems appropriate right now. Now, let's start out 4 takeaways with Alvin Kamara and the offensive line. Both were awesome Sunday in Dallas. Last week against the Carolina Panthers, the Saints rushed it 37 times for 180 yards. This week against a much better defense, the Saints rushed it 39 times for 190 yards. 38 carries a game, tied for the second most rushing attempts by a team this season. Clearly, that's a Clint Kubiak signature. Run it a lot. You know how many times the Saints rushed for 180 or 190 yards last season? 0. And Alvin Kamara is making the most of every opportunity. Clint Kubiak's offense is getting Kamara in space more often, and he looks as quick as ever. He leads the NFL in yards from scrimmage, and he's 6th in most touches, which means he's being really efficient. And here's the thing we are discovering about Kubiak's offense. It is not balanced. Sunday in Dallas, the Saints ran the ball roughly 70% of the time. In 1972, the Miami Dolphins went unbeaten with an old-school, grinded-out offense led by Larry Zonka. But here's the thing. The Dolphins averaged just 18 and a half passes a game. They had 2,000-yard rushers. Sunday in Dallas, the Saints threw it just 16 times. They're averaging 19 and a half passes a game. Clint Kubiak's offense is modern and complicated and multifaceted. And at this point, it's also extremely old school. The start to the Kubiak era in New Orleans has just been fascinating. At number 2, what Derek Carr is doing is grabbing national attention. 2 weeks in, he's the NFL's highest rated passer, and it's not close. And he's not doing it by dinking and dunking. There's a next generation stat called intended air yards, meaning how far you're throwing the ball upfield. He's 4th in the NFL. He's heaving it downfield, and while doing that, he's 3rd in completion percentage. He's the only NFL quarterback in the top 5 of those 2 statistical categories. And again, it's much more than the numbers. The bomb to Rashid Shaheed was exceptional. Carr is seeing the field extremely well. He's been extremely accurate. Again, I know it's only 2 games, but if you've actually watched those 2 games, it's hard to not get excited, which brings me back to number 1, stay grounded, because it is just 2 games. Las Vegas is not buying it yet. In the early Caesar Sportsbook, they have set the Eagles as 2-point favorites in the Superdome Sunday, and the Saints are now game 1 into the hardest stretch of their schedule. 4 games in a row, all against potential Super Bowl contenders, and the Saints aced test number 1. But now, all of those other teams have seen the Saints' new offense. The element of surprise is dwindling. So I say it again, stay grounded. But the start to this season has been really encouraging and just fun to watch. And that's my 4 takeaways from the Saints' huge win in Dallas.